Yeah,
So what are
more
you?
real.
So LZ, what are your thoughts on multiplayer online content? Then what are your thoughts?
We need a
Oof,
common enemy.
that's a good thing to end the show on. And it's a tough one too because in bafflingly enough in the No Man's Sky community, the multiplayer conversation is very. It's kind of always been a minefield to travel through, because you've got sort of a camp mentality, when it comes to those who do and don't want multiplayer. Like say for instance, you have folks that just want their sort of singular experience. I don't want to play with anybody else. I darn sure don't want a PvP where it just goes to I just want to kill each other. And I think a lot of those folks just forget that you can just switch that off. But aside from that, I think a lot of the solo folks, I like to call them the tourists, like, and I'm one of those folks. Like, I don't play with a lot of folks on No Man's Sky just because I kind of enjoy my solo experience, but I want a reason to play with other people, other than just, hey, let's go walk together. Let's go see if we can climb that mountain. You see that mountain over there? You can go there. Let's go together, right? I want baddies to fight, right? I want caves to go in that I may not come out of, right? I want there to be some danger. I want there to be reason for things that we're doing, and that's been sort of my sort of presentation of No Man's Sky videos in the last few months, since roughly April, beginning of April, is that there's a whole lot of things in No Man's Sky, but there's a whole lack of reason for those things, and that's what I'm hoping they're adding, is even particularly, especially multiplayer wise, is that there is reason for these things. There is a reason for me to go there. There's a reason for me to play with other people. There is a reason for me to go to the center of the galaxy. There's a reason for me to get together with 6 people, 16 people, and go find this planet that apparently is so far away from a sun that it could take hours to get there, and supposedly there's some kind of carrot at the end of the stick. But I want to wonder that kind of stuff, right? I want to be able to play together, and if you're asking me, like, if there should be a PvP component, I don't see why not, right? I don't see why they couldn't do some kind of adversarial, sort of like PlanetSide 2 type situation. Because here's the thing. The game has planets. So just imagine, you just throw 100 people into one solar system, right? They can't travel outside of it. Just think of it as a separate mode, right? And there's like 3 planets in this solar system, and you throw 100 people into this thing, and it's a control for territory, and you've got fighters fighting, and you've got bases being built, and type of like a tower defense type of mechanic, and you've got freighters duking it out, and you've got capital ships that are sort of kind of hanging out off of the side, sort of giving orders or operating or nuking planets, or it doesn't even have to be a start, middle, and end to it, but just a perpetual thing that exists where people are fighting and coming together, or taking on the other team, or dominating a solar system. And yes, there will probably be death, but that's okay because it's a simulation and there isn't any blood, and maybe that's what the ESRB is looking at. And right, and if we're talking PvP, like, go big or go home, I say. For a game like No Man's Sky, I think Hello Games could have. I've always tried to make a case that PvP, if it's done in the vein of No Man's Sky and that creativity, it doesn't have to be Call of Duty 6v6 in No Man's Sky. It could be so much more than that.
Right.
My vision of online, is a new game mode. You join in, and you have to choose one of 4, fractions. You choose one of 4. If you start, everyone starts in one system in one quadrant of a galaxy, and so there's 4 quadrants to the galaxy. There's one main capital in each thing, and so now you have this whole community of people together, And the people that want to go out and be explorers can go out, and you have an entire quadrant of galaxy that's empty of people. You could go out and do your own thing, or you could bring a group of friends with you and explore, or you could go to one of the other quadrants and wage war against the other, if that's what you want to do, or you could, befriend them, or, that's my hope of what we're going to see, is to build that type of, we'll see.
That's
so much speculation.
Well, I agree with Ivy Mike. I think we have factions in the game, and not just racial factions, but we have guild factions as well. But the one thing about No Man's Sky, that if I had to complain about anything about No Man's Sky, as much as I love the game, there's no real harsh consequence for any of your actions. If you pick one faction over another, it doesn't matter. They don't care. There's no, the other faction's not going to hate you. You're not going to be killed on or any of that, right? There's no real substance to pissing off the other faction.
I want to hate you in real life if you're a Gek sympathizer.
Get them gang for life. Get them gang.
Cobra would love that I've said that. I thought about it when I said that,
but there needs to be, I think, some of that. There needs to be factions. There needs to be consequences for your actions. If you decide to be a pirate, I mean, yeah, granted, Sentinels are going to come out and hunt you down away until you drop threat. But I mean, that's kind of generic, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. With multiplayer online, I think there should be an overhaul to faction building and grouping together and being able to diversify what kind of events or activities you're going to do as a group or guild.
I appreciate that. That's good.
Need to be corrupted.
What do you think, PG? Sorry.
I think we need a new sentinel type. We need something humanoid, something like the NPCs are going to be walking around. I want to see some sentinels walking around, and we need some sort of persistent, some sort of common enemy. Even for the people who want to play solo but still want to have some sort of adversarial combat happen. Just shooting drones and some walkers here and there. I don't know, like what you were saying about the abandoned space stations. What if you landed there and they're just completely overrun by these, new types of sentinels, and you got to kind of battle them and get through them because they're protecting something that's on that station or something like that, or even a captured freighter or something.
But we'd have to be able to shoot our multi-tools indoors then.
That's also true. What a weird thing. Like, oh, sorry, you're in this weird abandoned rundown building on a planet's surface in the middle of the nowhere. Can't shoot your gun now.
Well, and dang it, I want to be able to aim down the sights, and I want real scopes. That's small, right? But I do. I want real scopes for the game, and I've mentioned this in one of Cobra's subcasts, but in the lore we've talked about the threat of Sentinels and how they destroyed civilizations across all planets, right? And that's why when we land on the planets, we just see a little outpost here, ancient ruins here that used to be, representing a thriving city at one point in the history of No Man's Sky. Well, us as players, now we've kind of have started to come together, and through base building, we've started building communities, and we've started building locales, right? And I think with the Beyond update, especially if they're going to implement more diverse base building, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't implement new Sentinels, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Sentinels started attacking our bases, our outposts.
Yes,
right?
please.
Imagine. We should say imagine all day, but imagine if you had quadrants on planets, and if you destroyed a certain number of sentinels in that quadrant of a planet, they would stop spawning there. And then you could eliminate all of the sentinels on one whole planet, or have, to some people's point, have pointed out, maybe sentinel mother planets where it's just overrun with walkers.
Wow.
And so much.
Right. Or
so
what if
much
the
of
planet? What if the planet itself has become so inhabited that we start getting attacked by sentinels from space?
Exactly. Yeah, to wipe us out, to keep with the lore.
So if you implemented those simple game mechanics, that would do a whole bunch of stuff. Number one, that would keep the action level high. Number two, that would be potential droppable loot from killing sentinels. Number three, that would give us more diverse ways of utilizing currency that we collect in the game by maintaining and upkeeping our bases and outfitting them with defenses. It would really open up a lot of different gameplay.
Sean, are you watching? I just want to know, because the VOD will be available for you to watch anytime after this.
They've solved it.
It won't be long, and you can take all the notes you like. Just go to town, right? Just start jotting them down. This is good stuff.